Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about something wild, the hidden dangers in totally normal, everyday things you do. Seriously, some of these are going to blow your mind.
I mean, who hasn't been there, right? You're in a super quiet meeting, maybe on a first date, and you feel that massive achoo coming on. So you try to stop it. Seems harmless, but is it really? You know, our bodies have these amazing built-in reflexes to keep us safe. They're like these little survival programs running in the background. But what happens when we try to override the system? Well, let's dive in and find out. All right, kicking things off with number 1, holding in a sneeze. So what's actually happening when you pinch your nose, clamp your mouth shut, and just will it to go away? Okay, check this out. 20 times. We are talking about a serious amount of force here. A sneeze is basically designed to rocket irritants out of your body at incredible speed. So when you block the exit, you can ramp up the pressure inside your airway by 5 to, and get this, 20 times the normal force. That is a lot of pressure. So where does all that pressure go? I mean, it has to go somewhere, right? And listen, while this is super rare, medical journals have reported some truly wild injuries. We're talking people rupturing their trachea, that's their windpipe, tearing their aorta, causing a brain hemorrhage, or even forcing air into the space between their brain and their skull. No joke. So the big takeaway here is just don't do it. Really. The simple, safe, and, hey, socially acceptable solution, just let that sneeze go. Just, aim for your elbow. Okay, moving on to our next everyday hazard. Number 2, choking on water. You take a sip, it goes on the wrong pipe, you cough and sputter for a second, and then you move on with your day. But there's a much sneakier danger hiding in there. It's a thing called silent aspiration. Basically, it's when a tiny bit of liquid or food slips past your vocal cords and gets into your lungs, but without triggering that big, violent coughing fit you'd expect. You might not even realize it happened. And this is exactly why it's so dangerous. That little event can lead to something called aspiration pneumonia. And get this stat. One study found that almost 30% of pneumonia deaths in people over 60 could be traced right back to silent aspiration. Wow. Okay, so the key here isn't to freak out every time you cough on a drink of water. It's just about being aware. If you, or maybe an older person you know, has a really bad choking spell and then a little later develops a fever or a nasty cough with phlegm or has trouble breathing, yeah, that's when it's time to call a doctor. All right, number 3. This is one I think pretty much everyone has felt. You know that dizzying head rush when you leap off the couch just a little too fast? Yeah, there's a medical name for that. Orthostatic hypotension. And it's not just some weird feeling, it's a real physical thing happening inside your circulatory system. So here's what happens in like a split second. 1, you stand up really fast. 2, gravity does its thing and pulls blood down into your legs. 3, for a brief moment, your blood pressure takes a dive. 4, less oxygen-rich blood gets to your brain. And 5, your brain sends out a little red alert, making you feel dizzy or even see those little stars. And you know what? The fix for this is so simple. Just slow down. Give your body a second to catch up. When you're going from lying down to standing, maybe just sit on the edge of the bed for a moment first. Let your body adjust. Okay, let's head to the kitchen for number 4, eating raw food. We always hear that fresh and raw is healthy, right? But sometimes it can be hiding some really unpleasant surprises. And the dangers here can be super specific and kind of creepy. Like if you love raw oysters, you could be taking a gamble with something called Vibrio, which is a flesh-eating bacteria. Not great. Or undercooked pork can carry tapeworm eggs that can lead to a truly terrifying parasitic infection in your brain. It's called neurocysticercosis. So the most important thing to remember is that fresh does not automatically mean safe. The only way you can be sure you're killing off these nasty pathogens is with heat. So cook your food to the right temperatures. It's your single best line of defense. All right, coming in at number 5, that super satisfying pop you get when you crack your neck. Oh, it feels so good to release that tension, right? But it comes with a surprisingly serious, though thankfully rare risk. So a really forceful, aggressive twist of your neck can actually tear the lining of the arteries that run up your spine to your brain. This is called a vertebral artery dissection. And when that happens, a clot can form, travel to the brain, and cause a stroke. And here's the kicker. It accounts for 1 in 4 strokes in adults under 50. Okay, now before you totally panic, let's put this risk into perspective. This number,
1 in 5.85 million, that's the estimated risk of a stroke after a professional chiropractic neck adjustment. The risk from doing it yourself is, well, we don't know for sure, but it's probably higher if you do it wrong. The danger isn't the pop itself, it's the forceful movement that can cause the tear. So, what's the bottom line? If your neck feels stiff, please resist that urge to just yank on it. Try some gentle stretches instead, or a heating pad, or a light massage. Let's leave the high-speed twisting to the trained professionals, okay? And for our final point, number 6, we're talking about something competitive swimmers and, let's be honest, every kid at a swimming pool has done: seeing how long you can hold your breath underwater. This one is super counterintuitive, but it's so important to understand.
Okay, here is the huge misconception most people have. That desperate, panicky feeling, that overwhelming urge to breathe. That's not your body screaming for more oxygen. Nope. It's your body screaming to get rid of carbon dioxide. The buildup of CO2, a state called hypercapnia, that's what triggers your need to breathe.
This timeline here shows exactly what happens as that CO2 builds up and your oxygen levels drop. At 30 seconds, you start feeling uncomfortable. By 3 minutes, your diaphragm is actually convulsing. At 5 minutes, you're getting lightheaded. And around the 6-minute mark or so, your brain, starved of oxygen, basically just pulls the plug to protect itself. That's called a hypocyanic blackout. And this leads to the most critical piece of safety advice. Never, ever hyperventilate. Take a bunch of fast, deep breaths before going underwater to hold your breath. When you do that, you blow off all your CO2, which basically silences your body's alarm system. You can then use up all your oxygen and just pass out with no warning. It's called a shallow water blackout, and it can be fatal. You have to listen to your body. When it tells you to breathe, you breathe. Period. It really comes down to this. As one major review on the topic put it, the human body operates within narrow physiological thresholds. Our bodies are these finely tuned machines that exist in a really delicate balance. And pushing past those built-in limits, even in what seem like simple ways, can have huge consequences. Look, the point of all this isn't to make you paranoid about sneezing or standing up too fast, not at all. It's about building a deeper appreciation for the absolutely incredible, complex machine that you get to live in every single day. So, after hearing all that, I've got to ask you, what's one simple, everyday habit that you'll never think of in quite the same way again? Thanks for watching!
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more How Meets History.